One of the issues that comes up a lot is how do I run analysis on Gerber and NC and it doesn't have the intelligence to tell me that it's a top layer, a solder mask, a silkscreen, and so forth, or even do a netlist comparison. Autoimport templates is a way of looking at Gerber and NC and figuring out what the layer types are, but you may not have a template for a specific set of data. So how do you manually set the data types when you get a set of Gerber and NC? And that's what this video will show us. Of course, when you have ODB++ or IPC 2581, none of this is necessary. All right, if I go to File Import and Auto Import, and as usual point towards my directory, and I don't have a particular template set up, I can hit Next and it will at least identify the format of the files and the file types. And in this dialog here, I can actually set the layer types. And there is an advantage to doing it at this point, and that is that once I do it here, I can go into the StackUp Visualizer, and the StackUp Visualizer will allow to set my partial drills if they exist, and set the layer sequences properly. There's another way of doing this, and it's after the fact, and I'll show you that in just a second. But right now I'm going to go in and start just labeling my layers as to the type. Now, I know what they are in this case. I can't pull them up and look at them though. In the other way I'm going to show you, you can actually look at them as you're setting the layer types. So first of all, I know these first two are assembly layers. I'm not going to worry about that. This one is a top layer. So I'm just going to use the pull down to set it. This is an internal layer. And I'm going to go ahead and fill out the rest of these. All right, I've set all my layer types. There are a couple here that I don't really care about, so I didn't set those. But now, because I did set that, when I go to Next, I get the StackUp Visualizer. I can show my layers, and I can set which layers these partial drills go through all at the same time, just because I labeled my layers as to type in the step before. So again, once again, just to summarize, if I use Autoimport templates, and I have one for this design set, it automatically sets the layer types. This is only if I don't have an Autoimport template for a specific data set. The other way to do this, as I mentioned, is to go ahead and load the data and then set it after the fact. So let's do that process. We're just going to start over again. We're going to go Import, Auto Import. We're going to say don't use a template, and we're just going to click on Finish, and it's just going to load all the data up for us. And now I can use the layer display pane to do the same customization of the layer types. I can go in and label them. The key here is that if I need to see what a layer is, I can turn it on and see what it is over here. And if I have title blocks and so forth, those will show up as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish this because there's one last step after you do it this way that wasn't required in the steps we did before. Okay, so now that I have all my layers labeled here, I have to take an additional step if I do it after the fact, especially with partial drills. If I don't have partial drills, this isn't required, but in this case I do, so I've got to set up layer sets. So my first layer set will be layers 1, 2, and 3. And the drill that will go through that is the drill 1 to 3, and then we can also set up the through hole drill here as well. I'll say OK to that, and then I'm going to go and create the next buried and blind layer set. Now I've created my layer sets with the drills that go through each of those layer sets. The last step would be to extract a netlist from this data. So I'm going to extract a CAM netlist. And once my netlist is extracted, I am done. And all of my layers are set, layer types are set, and I've extracted a netlist from the graphics, and my partial drills are all set up. So that is the manual way to label your layers and to get them in the proper order and get them ready for analysis in CAM 350 when there are no auto import templates.